Okay, boys and girls, it's math time. All right, so let's review what we did yesterday. Well, first off, you guys had a fraction quiz to start out with. I hope you guys aced it. I think you did, because especially from my challenge I gave you in our Zoom meeting, you guys rocked it. So I think you guys nailed the fraction piece. Let's move on to yesterday, though, with our clock. Yesterday, I hope you guys made your own clock, as well as Miss Bowden did. And we started practicing telling time to the hour. But let's review a clock first off with this. Okay. Which hand is this blue hand? What is this blue hand? The blue hand represents the minutes. Very good, the minutes. And what about our red hand? What does that represent? The hours. Very good. Okay. Where does our blue minute hand, where does our minute hand go when we're telling time to the hour? Yeah, it goes right here on the 12. Very good. And your hour hand will be moved to whatever hour it's pointing at. So, for example, what time is on this clock? 9 o'clock. We say when the minute hand is on the 12, it reads o'clock. So we say it's 9 o'clock. Very good. And how would we write that on a digital clock? Very good. 9:00. Digital's got the colon, which separates the hours from the minutes. And this is an analog clock. It's a little bit harder to read sometimes because you have to do a little math to count. But once you get the hang of it, you guys are going to be spitting those times out like it's nothing. Okay, so we did time to the hour yesterday. Today, we're going to do time to the half hour. Well, wait a minute. Half hour. First off, let's go back to our clock. How many minutes are there in 1 hour? Very good. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Okay, but let's go back and look at this. It's our circle, right? The entire shape of a clock is a circle. If I say go around the entire thing, our whole would be 60 minutes. But I said half. What does half mean again? 2 equal parts. Very good. So half, we would cut our circle down the middle in half. So I'm going to just move my time to show 6 o'clock. So it's like, let's see, this paper clip's getting a little stuck. Let's see if I can move it. There we go. Okay. Whoops. This button's got to pin that back down so it doesn't move. Okay. Little technical difficulties when you don't have brads to put them to help them stay placed. Okay. I split my clock in half. Think of it as I drew an imaginary line going down the middle. So I got one side and one side. Okay. So half of it, if you start at the 12 and let's count down till we get to this other hand to see how many minutes half of 60 is. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So halfway around our clock is 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So half of an hour would be at the 30-minute mark, because an hour is 60, and half of that, if we split that into 2 equal parts, would be 30 plus 30, which would give us 60. Okay, so yesterday, we worked on time to the hour, where our minute hand was on the 12, because that meant o'clock, 0 minutes. Today, we're going to work on time to the half hour, because half hour means 30 minutes. So our minute hand is going to be on the 6. The 6 means 30 minutes. So the 12 means o'clock. The 6 means 30 minutes. Okay, so here's what happens. I'm going to try to move it as best as I can. Let's start with the 1 and the 12. Okay, so here's our clock. The minute hand's on the 12. It's 1 o'clock. As the minute hand moves around the clock, as our minute hand moves, oh, I'm losing the hour hand. As our minute hand moves around the clock, our hour hand moves as well towards the next number. It just moves even slower than that minute hand. So when this blue minute hand goes around the clock one entire time, when it goes around this clock one entire time, 60 minutes, this hour hand slowly moves to the next hour. Okay, so if the minute hand is moving, try to fix this paperclip again. All right, if the minute hand is moving around our clock and it goes halfway to that 6, the hour hand should also be halfway between the two numbers. Because if the minute hand is halfway, the hour hand also needs to be halfway on its journey to the next number. So the hour hand starts at a number and it journeys to the next number very slowly. But when this hand goes halfway, this hand goes halfway. Okay? So in order to help you determine what time it is, always look at the smaller number. Let's see if I can use this clock to help us out. So our minute hand's always going to be on a 6 for half an hour for the 30. Okay, so the hour hand's not going to be pointing to the 2. It's going to be pointing halfway between 2 and the next number, 2 and the 3. It'll be pointing halfway between it, and that would be 2:30. And the way I know it's 2 is because I haven't reached the next number yet. So I always have to go to the number behind it, the 2. Okay, so between 3 and 4, 3:30, it would be between the 3 and the 4. It hasn't reached the 4 yet. It's still the 3. All right, let's go to the 4. Where is it going to be, the hour hand? Between the 4 and the 5. Very good, because it'll be 4:30. 5 would be between the 5 and the 6 to be 5:30. This is the complicated one because they're so close together. But between the 6 and the 7, it would be 6:30 because it hasn't reached the 7 yet. 7:30 would be between the 7 and the 8 because it hasn't reached it yet. 8:30 would be between the 8 and the 9. 9:30 would be between the 9 and the 10. 10:30 would be between the 10 and 11. 11:30 would be between the 11 and the 12. What happens when I get to 12:30 though? It goes between the next number between the 12 and the 1. Okay, so I'm going to kind of show you how to draw things out. Let me go ahead and draw my clocks. It might be a little easier to show you when we're drawing it out since Miss Bowden's clock is a little cuckoo to see because we don't have necessarily the right materials, but it's trying its best. Okay, let me label our clock. Remember, 12, 6, 3, 9. Then I can go in between them. Okay, I'm only going to draw 2 clocks for now. I'm going to get my red and my blue out because I like to do the blue as the minute hand. Now, when we are telling time to the half hour, how many minutes is a half hour? 30 minutes. Very good. 30 minutes is a half hour. 30 minutes. So your minute hand needs to be touching the 6. Minute hand needs to be touching the 6 for 30 minutes. Okay? Now let's Let's look at the hour hand. All right, hour hands have to go in between two numbers. Because remember, it slowly is journeying from one number to the next number. So it's got to start at the number that you want to tell the time for, but put it in between the next number as it's going around. So, for example, all right, if you need to draw your hour hand a little bit longer, you can, but just make sure that it's red, just so you see where it's pointing. You know what Miss Bowden likes to do? I like to take my pencil and kind of draw dots to see where it falls between. And then I know that if it's not on the next biggest number as it goes around, that I need to go back and know that it's this hour. So because it's between the 2 and a 3, it already hit the 2, because remember, the clock rotates this way. So it's the 2. Oh, that's a funky little 2 because I'm writing it backwards. So the time on this clock is 2:30.